In this chapter, I'm going to describe the use of ColdFusion components. A ColdFusion component is a kind of ColdFusion file that contains functions that execute certain operations in your application. It's possible to write entire ColdFusion applications without ever using ColdFusion components, but when you use them, you'll architect your application in a way that's much more maintainable and usable in the long term. ColdFusion components are frequently referred to as CFCs, and that's what I'll call them for the most part. There are a few different ways of creating ColdFusion components. In my first demonstration, I'm going to do it in the most manual way, and then I'm going to show you a simple way of calling a ColdFusion component, and then I'll show you a few tools that are available in Dreamweaver CS3 that speed up the creation and use of CFCs. To create a CFC manually, first, create a directory in your application to hold them. It's typically a good idea to put your CFCs in their own special directory. So I'm going to start by going to my site and creating a new folder. And I'm going to name the folder CFC. And then I'll put all of my components into this CFC directory. Then, I'll go to the Welcome screen in Dreamweaver CS3, and under the Create New label, I'll click on More. That takes me to the New Document dialog. And from there, I'll select ColdFusion Component and click Create. A ColdFusion component is a simple text file. It always has a set of paired tags called CF component at the beginning and ending of the file. And then within the component, one or more functions. Each function in the component executes some job in your application. I'm going to keep this function in its simplest state. The name of the default function is myFunction. It accepts a single argument called myArgument. It sets a local variable within the function called myResult with a value of foo, and then it returns the result using a CF return tag. I'll save this file, and I'll place it into the CFC directory. I'll double-click on the CFC folder, and save it as mycomponent.cfc. All ColdFusion components have a file extension of .cfc. That makes it different from the .cfm file extension that's used in standard ColdFusion pages. I'll save the file, and then in the next video, I'll show you how to call this function called myFunction.